Most people forget 90% of what they read within days. Yet, in one study, people could accurately recall 83% of 10,000 images that they saw only once. This is called the picture superiority effect, where visual concepts or images are more easily recalled than if they are written or spoken. But if visuals are this powerful, why aren't more people using them? Because there are 4 common misconceptions that stand in our way. Beliefs that sound reasonable but aren't actually true. These limiting beliefs are like walls that box you in and get in the way of better learning. Let's break them down so nothing stands between you and the ability to learn faster or remember longer. Misconception number 1. I'm not a visual learner. Maybe you've taken a quiz at some point that said that you learn better by listening or by reading text, so you assume that visual methods are not for you. Here's the problem. Learning styles have been debunked long ago. In 2008, researchers reviewed decades of learning styles research and concluded that there's no evidence that learning improves if you match training methods to learning styles. This was confirmed by another study recently in 2024. Yet, 89% of educators still believe in learning styles. It's one of the most persistent myths in education. Instead of sticking to rigid learning styles, what's proven to work is dual coding, combining visual and verbal pathways for better memory retention. Because you're creating 2 memory pathways instead of 1, and this improves retention by over 6 times. In short, visual learning works for all brains and can multiply the effectiveness of any learning format. Misconception number 2. Visuals are too shallow for serious topics. On the surface, this sounds valid. After all, how can a visual summary like this capture the depth of a 500-page book? But this confuses format with depth. Let's look at an example. Daniel Kahneman's Thinking Fast and Slow explains what really goes on inside our heads. This is a classic that covers the details of System 1 versus System 2 thinking, various mental biases, and how they connect. You learn a lot about the human brain over 500 pages. But how much can you really absorb or remember? Now, let's revisit the ideas using Reading Graphics infographic summary. You can understand the System 1 versus System 2 framework at a glance, learn the different types of cognitive biases, and how the different concepts are related. In other words, you can see the architecture that was previously hidden across 500 pages of text. Is anything missing? Of course, it's a summary. But is it shallow? Far from it. Visuals provide a structure that allows your brain to hook or connect additional details. Like here, if you know what cognitive ease means and where it fits in the overall picture, it's easier to add details without getting lost in them. To understand more about why the brain gets overwhelmed and how visuals counter that, check out this other video. For now, remember that good visuals don't remove depth. They enable depth by revealing hidden structures and making complexity accessible. Misconception 3. I don't have the time, skills, or creativity. At this point, you might be thinking, even if visuals work, I can't draw, I'm not artistic, and who has the time to create all these diagrams? Here are 2 important things you should know. First, research discovered something called the drawing effect. People who sketch concepts, even crude ugly ones, remember them significantly better than people who just write notes. And the quality of drawing doesn't matter. Just look at this sketch. It's ugly and messy, but it still works because the very act of creating the visual activates the drawing effect. You can use stick figures, boxes, and arrows. Even a rough 30-second diagram will beat 10 minutes of text notes any day. Second, there's another option. Done-for-you visual summaries, which have been painstakingly created over hours of careful reading, distillation, and quality checks. This allows you to learn immediately from hundreds of non-fiction books with text, audio, and visuals. You can get both free and paid options at readinggraphics.com. In short, you don't need more time or artistic skill to start taking advantage of visuals. You already have everything you need to get started. Misconception number 4. It's not real learning, it's just a shortcut. Most of us have been taught that hard work is a virtue, and we feel guilty if we take shortcuts, as if we are cheating. If something feels too easy, it must be less valuable, right? Here's the irony. The hard way, reading every word, writing notes, and rereading text actually works against how your brain stores information. In an earlier video, we explained how people can recall 83% of 10,000 images that they have only seen once, or how adding visuals to text improves retention by 6.5 times. Using visuals isn't the lazy way, it's the smart way. Why work against your brain when you can work with it? Make your hard work count using visual learning to ensure that your effort actually sticks. Now that we've busted these 4 myths that limit your learning, there's no longer anything standing between you and faster, deeper learning. Your brain is ready. Are you? Learn how exactly you can apply visual learning more effectively in our linked videos, and grab a free visual summary from Reading Graphics to get started right away.